Kirsten Sikkelee, and I have the privilege of serving as the CEO of YWCA Central Carolinas. On behalf of our board and staff, thank you to everyone here in the ballroom for caring about our mission and for making the time to be with us today. We know you have many competing priorities. In the center of your table, you'll find a house made out of maps from our community. And these amazing structures were created by a very gifted artist and a friend of the YWCA, Joanna Cathy of To and From. We liked this image because the YWCA is literally a home to many women and families. It's a safe haven after school for students, and it's a fitness home of choice for fitness members. The YWCA itself is a community, and it's thriving within this larger can-do community that we have of caring people, and we think it's a reflection of our aspirations and our mission. At this point, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize all the elected officials in the room, beginning with thanking our mayor, Jennifer Roberts, for joining us today. Would all elected officials Would all of our elected officials please just rise so we can thank you for your service? We're also very fortunate at the YWCA to have some amazing women who have served as our board presidents over the years. Would those women in the room now who have served as our board presidents please stand so we can thank you? Our amazing table hosts always make this luncheon work, and we're very grateful to each of you. We know it's like musical chairs up until the very day with people calling and changing plans, and we know it takes effort to have full tables for this luncheon, but once we're all here together in the ballroom, it is awesome, and we are grateful. So I want to start by thanking our generous sponsors who make this luncheon possible, and starting at the top with our signature sponsor, Wells Fargo Bank. This year is the 6th year that Wells Fargo has led the way at the top sponsorship level for the YWCA, and it's the 11th year that they've been part of sponsoring this fundraising luncheon. Wells Fargo has been a YWCA partner for the long haul and specifically now makes a generous grant to support one of our 10 youth learning centers at Billingsville Leadership Academy, an elementary school in the Greer Heights neighborhood. We have 60 young people enrolled every day after school, and despite the high poverty of the student population, our YWCA students are flourishing. In fact, when you compare the data for the students who are enrolled at the school, who are also enrolled in our out-of-school time program, with students at the school who are not in our program, our children are performing at a significantly higher level in terms of reading comprehension. The continuous learning day we're able to provide there is a tremendous factor in achieving student reading proficiency, and Wells Fargo is one of our partners there that makes that success a reality. I'd like to thank our friend Jay Everett, the Community Affairs Manager for Wells Fargo, for joining my table today. It's great to have you here, Jay. And for all the ways that Wells Fargo supports the YWCA efforts, let's give them a round of applause. In addition to our signature sponsor, we have a great list of partners to thank if you'd hold your applause till the end. Our presenting sponsor is Google Fiber. Our sustaining sponsors are Belk, Dixon Hughes, Duke Energy, Fifth Third Bank, and Piedmont Natural Gas. Our maintaining sponsors are AT&T, Ballyhoo, Bank of America, BB&T, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, Brown Brothers Harriman, Coca-Cola Bottling Company Consolidated, Compass Group Food Buy, First Citizens Bank, Elliott Davis, Food Lion, Morgan Stanley, the Young Group, and Zapata Engineering. That's an amazing group of sponsors, and we're all so grateful. I really appreciated what our friend, the Reverend Jay Leach, said in his blessing. You know, we're part of a community at the YWCA that is taking a hard look at economic mobility and its barriers to movement. And this whole community is pulling together. It's tackling student achievement and it's tackling reading in particular. Our community is grappling with racial disparities that are very real, and it takes courage and commitment to pull us all together to make real change occur. It's really a blessing for all of us to contribute to that effort. Last month, we had adults in our housing programs, Women in Transition and Families Together, and parents of students in our youth learning centers come together to learn about the work of the Opportunity Task Force. That's the group that's charged with responding to the very dismal findings of the Harvard study that ranked Charlotte as a city the lowest of 50 in terms of economic mobility. Hearing from these YWCA women and families who are struggling to climb up that economic ladder was poignant and it was powerful. I think often we think we know what people need, but we neglect to ask them directly. In their own climb out of poverty, this group wanted to learn about what the study revealed, and they wanted to share their input and respond to it. As that group viewed map after map after map that showed our community's segregation economically, racially, educationally, and by family structure, people gasped. They'd never really had the luxury of pulling up from their own situation to look at this stark, real data and examine what poverty looked like in Charlotte. Women talked about the importance of having a vision for themselves and of being encouraged, of knowing what their resources were and of building their networks. Pulling up from poverty is a luxury that those in survival mode rarely have. But great things are happening at the YWCA, and these women and families are working very hard. We're so encouraged that this past year, 93% of our women in transition and 100% of our families together moved from the YWCA into permanent housing. Our YWCA family is also energized to be a part of Read Charlotte. Many of you have heard of Read Charlotte. It's an ambitious systems integrated effort to help Charlotte's third graders move from what is now a 39% reading proficiency level to an 80% reading proficiency level within 10 short years, which are now closer to 9. The goal's been described as audacious and overwhelming, and it's both. The days of thinking that one group or one nonprofit alone could make significant lasting change are really over. Issues like poverty and racism and unequal education are just too complex for that. But when local data shows us that almost 90% of low-income third graders who read on grade level will graduate from high school on time, we all have to be 100% committed to this work. Which brings us to the children, a few of whom you met coming in the doors today. They're at the heart of this better future that we at the YWCA envision with you, our community. In youth programs, our 10 youth learning centers serve kindergarten through 5th grade girls and boys every day after school, all day during teacher work days, and during spring and summer breaks. We're primarily serving families who are earning less than $16,000 a year. That's really powerful. It's hard for any of us to imagine how we would get by on that. Our fitness center, it's a co-ed resource for the surrounding community, and we've really embraced the fact that it's a portal for building awareness about our housing programs, about our youth programs, as well as being a space for our neighbors to come and get healthy and stay healthy. So many fitness members, and some of you are in this room right now, came in to take a spin class or came in to take a yoga class and discovered our housing programs and our youth programs and got aware and became donors and became volunteers. And we're grateful for that. I also want to share with you that we want you to look out for a communication that will come out after the luncheon to invite you to participate in our Stand Against Racism activities that will be coming up in April. we take a stand against racism with YWCAs across the country on the last Friday in April, which is the 29th, and that's a community awareness event at the intersection of Trade and Tryon. The night before, we're hosting a forum, and it will be a dialogue over dinner while we discuss voting rights and voter engagement in North Carolina, and we're delighted to have Malcolm Graham helping us to facilitate that. Tomorrow night, the Wells Fargo Duke Energy Center is going to be lit in orange to show our gratitude for your support and to celebrate our mission. It's kind of interesting because tonight it's going to be lit in orange too, but it's not for us. But we're going to pretend like it's lit for us for 2 nights. So with thanks to the team at Wonder World Creative who produced our video, I'd like to share with you some other YWCA voices.